Okay, so the lesson today is on complex fractions. All right, let's first look at what do they look like. Well, we've got, if you write a fraction has a numerator, a fraction has a denominator, and what we've done in this case is the numerator and the denominator is actually a fraction. There's nothing that says that it can't be a fraction. And so we do remember our keep, change, flip. And this main line right here, this line is your new divide symbol. So technically, if I rewrite that problem, it would look like this: 1/9 divided by 2/7. And then we use our keep, change, flip. Keep the first, change the division to times, and then flip the second. And then I would have my final answer. And then 9 times 2 is 18. I think it's easier to see it written horizontally, see it written this way, instead of vertically, which is how they have it over here. So you write out the problem, keep, change, flip, and then do what it says. I have a couple examples here that are just showing fractions. We're going to do some with just fractions first, and then we'll go straight to some that have rational numbers. Number 1.
Miss Debbie, could you scroll up one more time? I can take a picture of it and write it down.
Yeah, okay. Sure can. There's the top.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. This is, the one that I gave you is pretty simple. You're not really going to see them like that. That's like the simple version. What we have here looks a little more complicated. And you have what you need to do is set this up as 2 different problems or rewrite it. I know this is 4/1. That's 4/1. And we've got that divided by whatever this is. So I would have to go on my scrap paper, or I might have a scientific calculator, which I do have a scientific calculator in front of me. And so what I'm going to do is figure out what is 3/4 minus 3/2. So 3/4 minus 3/2 is negative 3/4. All I do is put that in my calculator. Or you can do it the long way. I'll show that to you over here. So I might need to go to, if I don't have a calculator, I might need to go to my scrap paper. So 3/4 minus 3/2. Hey, Caleb, welcome. Find me a common denominator of 4. That gives me 3. 2, I need to multiply top and bottom by 2. That gives me 6. And 3, remember this is a takeaway problem. 3 minus 6 gives me negative 3. And then I have the common denominator of 4. So you can see where I got the negative 3/4.
Miss Deb, so the bottom number gonna stay the same?
Yes. You do need to find a common denominator first. Like I can't do 3/4 minus 3/2 because the denominator is not the same. And so I had to find a common denominator first. and then you add or subtract the numerators, keep the bottom number the same, like what you said. And so what we've done here is that's our question mark. So now we have 4/1, which came from the top. This came from up here, 4/1 divided by -3/4. Because what we did was subtract the bottom. Now we use keep, change, flip. 4/1 times -4/3. This comes from keep, change, flip. And then if I multiply straight across, 4 times -4 is -16. And then 1 times 3 is 3. So final answer, -16/3. Or you could have, I'm not sure what your Alex is going to make you do, but they could tell you to change this to a mixed number, -5 1/3. What happens when I change that improper fraction? Okay, next we're headed to number 2. You got a couple things that you're going to need to do. You're going to have to figure out what is 1/4 plus 5/4. And whatever that is going to be divided by 4/1. This is really 4/1 right here. So what I'm going to do is this part first. I'm going to go ahead and get that in one single fraction. You'll notice that the denominator is the same in this one, so it makes it pretty easy to add. We don't have to find a common denominator. So I have 6/4 divided by 4/1. I use my keep, change, flip. And then I multiply straight across. Now here, I don't know if you know anything about cross canceling, but the 2 will go into both of those. This helps me reduce the fraction at the end. So I have 3 times 1 equals 3, and then 4 times 2 equals 8. Final answer would be 3/8. Just for a recap, you will have something going on the top divided by something going on the bottom. All you're going to have to do is do this problem, change this to divide, do this problem, whatever that might be, and then from there, use keep, change, flip. It's a lot easier when you write them horizontally instead of looking at them vertically. Okay. Now let's go to complex fractions that have rational expressions in them. I have 3 problems here. I already got the answer there. The answer's in red. And so this is what they'll look like when they're not just fractions. They're going to be rational expressions, which you might have to add and subtract some fractions, get it in a one single fraction. Okay, let's begin. Let's see here. We'll call this one number 1. So the way that number 1 works, we'll do one at a time. This one says 9 divided by 9 over x plus 2 over 3x. So you look at these individually and say, okay, which one of these do I need to simplify? We definitely need to simplify this guy over here because he's not a single fraction. I know that the first fraction is 9 over 1. And so how do you add rational numbers that don't have a common denominator? Well, first thing you got to do is find your LCD. The LCD of this one is 3x. And so I'm going to, let me rewrite the problem. I know that both of these are now 3x. It's a plus, that's 3x. That's 2, that's easy because that was already 3x. But if I look at my first one, 9 over x, what am I missing to get to 3x? Whatever I'm missing, I have to multiply that by the top. Looks to me like I'm missing a 3. I need 3x on the bottom. All I've got is x. So I'm missing a 3. So 9 times 3 would give me 27. So now look here. This is what we wanted. We wanted our common denominator. So I can rewrite this as 29 over 3x. And all of this came from the second problem. Let me write a big circle around it. So all of this is coming from that. Okay, so I still have my 9. Don't forget, I started with 9 divided by all that. So I have 9 over 1 divided by 29 over 3x. Keep, change, flip. Multiply straight across. 9 times 3 is 27x. 1 times 29 is 29. Final answer. And check, yes. That's why I like to give y'all the worksheets that have the answers on them. Because when you do the problem, you can figure out if you got it right. All right, number 2. Number 2 says I have x squared over 9 plus 1/4 divided by 6x. Remember, that's 6x over 1. Let's just go ahead and make it into a fraction. And then look at each part. Is there something I need to simplify before I do the rest of the problem? Yes. This over here is not a single fraction. So we're going to first have to add those two numbers together, or two fractions together. Let's see what we get as our single fraction. So let's head over to our scrap paper and put those together. X squared over 9 plus 1/4. Okay, let's see here. 4 times 3 is 12, then 16, then 28. I'm trying to find a common denominator between 9 and 4. Could be 36. So my LCD is 36. So now I need to rewrite each of these fractions with a denominator of 36. I have to figure out what am I missing. If I'm doing the 9, how do I get 9 to 36? I have to multiply by 4. What am I missing over here? I'm missing a 9. So that gives me 4x squared, and that gives me 9. So now I can add the top, 4x squared plus 9 over 36. And I've now written it into one single fraction. So I have 4x squared plus 9 over 36 divided by 6x over 1. I have to use keep change flip. 4x plus 9 over 36 times 1 over 6x. Okay, well, I multiply my tops. Anything times 1 just gives you that anything back. So up top, I have 4x squared plus 9. I don't know what 36 times 6 is. Hold on. 36 times 6 is 216. 216x, final answer. So I'm going to go over here to my problem and see if I got it right. I did. Yay. There's my answer. I got this one right. This is how you guys should be studying. Go to my worksheet, try some of the problems, and then see if you end up with the right answer. At this time, anybody unmute? Can anybody unmute and tell me if there's anything about the process that you don't understand? We understand how to change a complex fraction into a division problem. It looks kind of
This
scary.
just seems like a lot to do to get the answer.
Right. Because depending on what you have in the numerator and depending on what you have in the denominator, you see I had to go on my scrap paper to do one of them, and you could have a lot going on where you've got to simplify the top and simplify the bottom.
I'm on a Zoom call. Yeah, I get it now.
Yeah.
I see what you're talking about.
It's almost like you got to do 3 problems. You got to do the problem in the numerator, then you got to do the problem in the denominator, and then you have to take those 2 numbers and divide them. So righteously, you're doing 3 problems just to get one of the problems done. Okay. Y'all want me to do number 3? Who wants to see another one?
Me? Could you do another one, please?
Sure. Let me erase the board. Probably, let me see what would make y'all's picture if you're using your phone. Get y'all a good picture. All right. And here we go on number 3. I have one problem up top. A over 8 minus 4 over a squared. That's all. What are you doing right on my screen?
I ain't trying to do it.
You're
I ain't
fine.
trying to do it.
I know, it's okay. Let me see if I can erase it. I don't know if I can. Let me see. Yes, I got it. I got it. We're fine. Okay. So we've got this top part. Then next is our division. And that comes from this line right here. That's our division line. And then we're dividing it by 4. So hopefully you'll see that this time we have the left side that needs to be put together. You can't do these problems unless you have one fraction divided by one fraction. So the first part is what's not one fraction. So we're going to head to our scrap paper. So we can figure out how to get that into one fraction. Okay, next we have to find our LCD. If we look all the way across the denominators, we have an 8 and we have an a squared. So therefore, my least common denominator is 8a squared minus 8a squared. And I've got to figure out what is missing because I have to multiply that top number by it. So what am I missing? Okay, I look at my first one. I've got an 8. Looks to me like I'm missing a squared. So if I multiply a times a squared, I get a to the third. Okay, then I look at the second one and I compare it. If I compare the a squared to my LCD, it looks to me like I'm missing an 8. You got to think about what am I missing down here in relation to that LCD. I'm missing an 8. So 8 times 4 give me 32. So now I'm able to write my, so this, all of this is a cubed minus 32 over 8a squared. Divided by, we still have divided by 4. I'm going to go ahead and make it into a fraction. And then we have keep, change, flip. So I'm going to have to rewrite my problem. My first one, keep the same. Change my division sign to times and then flip. Now if I multiply straight across, anything times 1 is just that anything. And then 8a times 4 is 32a. Final answer. And I go over and look at my answer. Check. Got that one right.